Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta has been involved in more Premier League goals against Aston Villa than any other opponent. And then also Aston Villa's past 5 games, winning 4 and losing 1. We all know what happened at Arsenal. 4-1. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Astonished with me, Dre. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. I just thought it would be so important that we go through just a quick match preview. Listen, it's not going to be long. I'm not going to keep you long. But I thought this was it was very important to discuss this because given our history with Crystal Palace and Oliver Glasgow, I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried. In actual fact, let's go through a couple of statistics. And if you're new to the channel, please would you do me a big favor? Please like and subscribe to this. Well, if you like it, like it. But please subscribe to it, man. I'd love to continue on this journey with you. And in some sort of sense, you're part of the history of what's happening with Aston Villa right now as well. So I'd love to have you on board. Thank you very much for subscribing. Right. Now, so let's go through Aston Villa. In actual fact, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Very, very exciting game. Kickoff. Let's see, what time is kickoff actually? Let's have a look at what time. Well, according to Sport, BBC, it says it's at 7:30. I wonder if that's in South African time or if it's UK time. But in any case, Aston Villa is going to Selhurst Park. Yeah, not particularly my favorite venue or stadium to go to. But in any case, I'm worried about the history here, in actual fact. But let's go through it. Let's go through it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So let's look at what's happening currently. Well, the season so far. Aston Villa in third position and currently on 42 points, joined with Arsenal. Sorry, with Manchester City. Crystal Palace. Oh, maybe that's purpose, eh? Maybe there's something there with Aston Villa and Arsenal. Maybe we're going to be joined. You never know. You never know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm hoping too much also. But in any case, Arsenal fans, don't hate me on that. I'm just saying. Okay, it's okay to dream. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Crystal Palace in 14th position, currently with 27 points. A total of 164 shots at goal, and for Crystal Palace, and 158 for Aston Villa so far. We also have total shots on target: 87 for Aston Villa, 76 for Crystal Palace, and then Crystal Palace has an 88 shots off target, and then 71 for Aston Villa. There's 71 blocked shots from Crystal Palace and 72 for Aston Villa. So stats is almost quite similar, though. Hey, just I think what has been the difference is the clinicalness of Aston Villa. Passing accuracy, Villa leads it with 84.91 versus Crystal Palace of 73.03. Why am I getting tongue-tied? I feel like I'm a bit nervous for this, but in any case, I think because I'm stressed about this game. So 1 point gained for Crystal Palace from a losing position, and then 18 points gained for Aston Villa from a losing position. And then points dropped from a winning position. That's 2 points for Aston Villa, and then versus the 10 points dropped from a winning position for Crystal Palace. Oh, interesting one. Just the form guide currently. So Crystal Palace has drawn 3 of their last 5 games and lost 2 of them. Recently drawing to Fulham of 1-1 at Selhurst Park. And then also Aston Villa's past 5 games, winning 4 and losing 1. We all know what happened at Arsenal, 4-1. From the past 3 outings between Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, Unai Emery has not won 1. He's drawn 1 and lost 4. This is what's concerning me, and this is the key thing that's going to happen, that's currently happening against Crystal Palace, and it's almost like there's some sort of tactic that Oliver Glasgow knows how to play against Unai Emery, and I know that look, Aston Villa likes to play narrow on the field specifically. And Oliver Glasgow likes to use his wing backs quite often, so he likes to spread the play. And when you realize it, they're happy to soak up a bit of pressure. And then when they get the ball, they move the ball quite quickly. So their transition is quick. Their counter is extremely quick. And I don't think Villa has been able to deal with it in the past. It's really been quite difficult for Aston Villa to get some sort of result at Crystal Palace. And it's quite worrying going into this game because if Aston Villa wants to continually keep the distance between third place and fourth place with a 10-point buffer, I think it's an 8 or 10-point buffer, we need to seriously be churning out this result, all of our results moving forward and going on a proper and a decent run again. In all competitions, this is a nice match fact. In all competitions, Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasgow has never lost against Aston Villa's Unai Emery. In 6 meetings, winning 5, drawing 1. What is this guy eating? What are they doing at Crystal Palace? Do they have like some sort of voodoo doll or witchcraft happening at Crystal Palace with a crystal ball against Aston Villa? Because it just seems like Unai Emery can't play against Oliver Glasgow. It's the most that Glasner has faced against any other manager without losing. Interesting. While as a top flight manager, it's the most that Emery has faced with another manager without winning. Crazy. Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta has been involved in more Premier League goals against Aston Villa than any other opponent. Listen, Mateta, what is your story? What do you have against Aston Villa that, you know what? Konsa and Lindelof, if not Pau, needs to ensure that we keep this guy on lockdown. Whether it's transition, whether it's second balls, whether it's beating him in the air, whatever the case may be, they need to make sure that they tie this man's boots together and that when he walks home, he's walking home with no goal. Because there's definitely going to be goals in this type of match between Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. You can see it's definitely it's going to be a scoring game from both ends. Well, hopefully from Villa's side, but definitely from Crystal Palace side. But check this out, another match fact. Since the start of December, no player has scored more Premier League goals than Ali Watkins. Yes! So currently sixth, he's level with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The Aston Villa striker is now looking to score in 4 consecutive appearances, which is quite cool in the competition, for just the third time since April 2023. Very interesting. I want to go to, there's another match fact I read earlier on. Let's see. This might play into our hands, but I'm not going to count on this. But in any case, check this out. Crystal Palace has lost or have lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League games, drawing 1, more than their previous 21 beforehand. So in other words, winning 9, drawing 9, losing 3. Interesting. Crystal Palace are also winless in their last 5 home Premier League matches, drawing 3 and losing 3. Their worst run without a victory at Selhurst Park. Listen, Aston Villa, don't make that right for them. Please, guys, we need to be on point. Everybody needs to be ensuring that they're doing their part, that they're tracking back, that they're marking their man on transitions, because that's what Crystal Palace is going to do against Aston Villa. They do that quite well. Aston Villa loves soaking up the pressure and then kind of breaking through that center through either Kamara from a cash concert or Pau or even Lindelof now or even Matson to your Yuri Tielemans or your Boubacar Kamara and then playing on that transition and going through the center, which is quite cool. And I see we kind of pushed it to the right now with Matty Cash, bringing some balls into the box. But Oliver Glasgow knows exactly the game plan of Unai Emery. I'd like to know if Unai Emery would kind of switch it up a bit. I think he did try that at Selhurst Park last season, and it didn't kind of pan out okay with us. I mean, they came to Villa Park in this season, in 2025, the first game, and they literally played us off the park. We had nothing against them. I think they won 4-0 at Villa Park. That's very difficult to swallow. But Aston Villa needs to do something seriously against us. If we want to continue that, look, we do have a buffer to that fourth place, which is okay. But we don't want to chance it because these couple of games now going into January, I think it's we back to back. We're playing about 6 games in January. So We need to churn out these results. We need to continually fire on all cylinders, keep on winning those games and just getting those results in order to just remain competitive in that top three or top four, let's say. But in any case, that was just a quick match preview of going into this game, what we can kind of look out for. But if Boubacar Kamara and Yuri Tielemans can have a similar game to what they had with and against Nottingham Forest, then we're in for a decent game. I think if we win the midfield battle and we're able to lure them out and set decent traps, we can be firing on. We can really do some damage. If Ollie Watkins can come to the party and do a two goal, I don't know from where, maybe inside or outside, maybe with a nice header, we'd be looking quite sweet for that with that games with that game potentially. Um, but let's not discount Unai Emery, man. The record doesn't look good against Oliver Glasgow, but he has a way with certain things. In Emery we trust. In Emery we trust. With that said, up the mighty Villa. Looking forward to a positive match preview. Oh, sorry, match reaction post the game.